Well, guys, this is interesting. One of the most massive drone strikes of Ukraine happened yesterday. Yes, on Russian territory, this is the Novokubishevsk oil refinery, which was really hit hard. Yes, drone hit exactly the proper spot, and this is huge refinery actually. Just for you to understand, those towers are 180 meters high. It's roughly 600 feet. It is huge, and the flame is higher, way higher. So yeah, there were tons of the videos filmed by the eyewitnesses, and what is really interesting about this case, guys, is that Zelensky stated before that there was the agreement between Russia, United States and Ukraine to avoid striking the energy infrastructure, and obviously a refinery is the energy infrastructure, but Russia continued to strike Ukrainian facilities before, and Zelensky mentioned that many of the times that are we following some certain agreements or not, because, there was the agreement, but now it seems like Ukraine is totally in hitting Russian refineries once again, applying its own kind of the strict sanctions on Russia. But Novokubishevsk refinery was not the only place where Ukraine struck Russia the last night. We have the data from the NASA fire detection satellites that there was significant fire in one of the airports in Kuban region of Russia. Krasnodar region, and this airfield is Primorsko-Akhtarsk. This is the Russian base for Sukhoi-25 attack airplanes, which are used for infantry support on the front lines. But also this is the launching spot for the Russian Shahid drones, so they have some sort of the equipment to launch Shahids and Shahid drones themselves. So I wonder if Ukrainian strike was really successful, but it was reported by locals in text format, and we have the detection on NASA satellites. No other images are coming so far. And this is Ruzzian oil refinery. Yeah, one more refinery was hit in Russia the last night. Here's one more image of Ruzzian oil refinery. Indeed, it was the large. Also, fire detection satellites confirmed that Ukraine hit the substation in Uglerodovsky town. This is used to provide electricity for the Russian trains. Again, this is Rostov Oblast, the place where Ukraine wants to kick out Russian logistics. So I think that Ukraine intensified the strikes on Russia after Russian recent attack on Kiev, where they hit the residential building full of people with a cruise missile midnight. And for now, 30 people at least were confirmed to be unalive. So obviously it is a good thing to respond on those Russian strikes. Alright, now let's go to political topic, because it's kind of important than people say about nuclear weapons, deploying submarines or something like that, yeah? So Donald Trump confirmed his intentions to deploy some of the submarines, 2 of the submarines, close to the Russian territory. And obviously he blames Russia for this action. And actually, Donny is right here. If you receive open threats from the high-ranked Russian officials, from their propaganda media that they want to nuke United States, Europe and so on, you should do something. And by the time I'm recording this video, Medvedev didn't reply anything. Maybe he already found his window, who knows? But yeah, I'm just joking about it. I think it was organized like those tweets from Medvedev. They were organized by Putin's regime itself. Medvedev is just barking harsh. It's his role in this team. I think it was played by Putin, and actually it forced Donny to act. Let's watch what Donny said about it.
Really mad.
Well, you just have to read what he said. He was talking about nuclear. When you talk about nuclear, we have to be prepared, and we're totally prepared.
So Donny said that United States prepared for the nuclear war in case with Russia, yeah? A few months ago, Putin said something about nuclear, and Donny wrote that it's better to avoid those N-words. Since that time, Putin lowered his nuclear rhetorics, and he delegated those duties to Medvedev, who mentions nuclear war in every of his tweets. Or Telegram posts, how you say that? I usually say tweets, as usual, yeah? As the habit. And here Donny about those submarines.
They're closer to Russia, yeah, they're closer to Russia. It's a terrible situation.
They're close to Russia, it means submarines, they're close to Russia. Maybe already. Well, the New York Times say that it's very hard to cross-check the information coming from Donny via his posts or interviews about the real deployment of the submarines, because it is the top secret classified information. Journalists will never know the position of the United States submarines. That is how the system works, right? So enemy shouldn't know the exact position of the submarines, of not to be aware where the strike is coming from. That's why we'll never know if Donny is bluffing or not. Well, actually the same case goes for Putin. We'll never know whether he's bluffing or not. I think that he's bluffing because he likes to be a Russian Tsar. He doesn't want to lose everything. So then he speaks about the Third World War, that they'll die and will go to heaven. It is just a pure bullshit. But from Donny this time, I think maybe those statements could be real. Maybe even some of the submarines might perform military drills elsewhere. We'll see if it goes that way, because in that case it might really show Putin the real strength. Oh, this morning Russian propaganda media already tries to come out with some of the anti-cruise videos, short clips of the Russian submarines. They say that this submarine is coming from the mission back to the port. They want really to show that they also have the mighty force, you know, and yeah, this nuclear submarine is really huge. So we are here, we are on defense of Russia with our submarines. But again, this escalation towards Russia and some sort of the support even of Ukraine, I think that it is just temporary for Donald Trump, because many months before we saw completely different behavior from Donny and how he blamed Ukraine, Zelensky also personally, many of the times, and how he wanted to give Russia Ukrainian territories, but it didn't go well for him and for Witkoff as well. But you know what? Witkoff is coming to Russia once again. After his visit to Israel, he is going or flying to Moscow. So maybe after that meeting, Donny would say, oh no, let's make a deal once again. I give Russia like 100 days or something like this. No, there will be no sanctions applied, because we are up to make the deal, you know. Putin is so charming man, you know, we communicate really good. So I wouldn't trust Trump at this stage. Yeah, the changes that we witnessed in Donny's behavior for the last few weeks, they're pretty much good for Ukraine. But whether Donny stays like that for a long time, I hope so. But you never know with Donny, never. I think that people do not change in his age especially. That's why Donny stays the same. He uses the Ukrainian topic just in his own personal favor, to distract the attention from Epstein or something like that. Or maybe to show that he's a tough guy after all and he doesn't like to be played by Putin. Senator Lindsey Graham also warns his Russian friends that President Trump seeks peace, not conflict. However, please understand that he is not Obama, he's not Biden, and he will not be trifled with "you're overplaying your hand." And he retweeted yesterday's post of Donald Trump where he says about nuclear submarines. Wow, that's the escalation, but maybe next time Russian officials would definitely think twice. And this video aged very well. Remember, Joe Rogan 8 months ago said about the nuclear threat, the Third World War is coming. Not just Joe Rogan said like that, but many of the MAGA supporters, influencers, Tucker Carlson was supporting this idea. And all of this bullshit was coming because Ukraine received permission to use ATACMS on Russian territory. So just recall how it was.
How are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like, the people don't want you to be there anymore. This should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III. Maybe that would be a good thing that we would like to avoid from a dying former president. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is nuts.
I mean, look, I don't know shit about politics.
Zelensky says Putin is terrified. Fuck you, man. Fuck you people. You fucking people are about to start World War III.
I wonder what they would say right now, then Donny escalates. So for Ukraine to obtain permission to kaput Russian military bases, Russian logistics, because Russia is using their forces against Ukraine on the ground, it's not okay. But for deploying nuclear submarines close to Russia and calling about it out loud that we are ready for nuclear war, everything is fine with that. So double standards, of course, are there, especially in MAGA. And those double standards are elsewhere, like Donny said about those Epstein files. We're gonna declassify them, we're gonna release them, and now they say that there are no Epstein files. Then the Epstein files were made by Democrats, Obama, Biden, Hillary, whatsoever. Guys, politicians are dirty and selfish by definition, and I wonder why Donny became so big cult out there in the United States. But now even some MAGA are not okay with his Epstein file case, and that's why maybe Donny wants to introduce new breaking news about nuclear submarines or something like that. Also, Trump today stated that Putin may try to occupy the entire Ukraine. He says that it will be very hard to do for Russia, and he is very surprised with the Russian actions because they were up to make the deal. The conversations were great, but Putin continued to strike Ukraine. That's why he's really disappointed. Well, he's disappointed for now. We'll see what comes next, all right? After Witkov's visit, as I told you, everything might change. And guys, please don't forget to check my recent uploads, my videos about the frontline updates, because there was the ambushment of the Russian army in Chasiv Yar. And today I'm gonna film probably 2 more videos, one especially from the frontline update. We're gonna see how situation evolves there. And my friends, thank you so much for your kind support on Patreon, because you motivate me to film more and more of the videos. So today maybe 1 more video, maybe 2 more videos, maybe 3 more videos, we'll see. Depends on situation. This morning has just been started for me, so I hope for more positive news coming. And guys, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.